Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So today we want to talk about a tactic that is being used more and more in the pro scene, but also has a very specific use it can be used for in your own ranked games. In today's video we are going to talk about the dive comp, what it consists of, when to use it, and also more importantly why you should be using it in certain situations. Let's crack on.
So the dive composition has quite a self-explanatory name. It's a composition that is quick, agile, and can get in the face of the enemy team very quickly, aka dive at them. The team consists of several high mobility heroes that are excellent at confirming kills. Winston leads the way instead of a Reinhardt and partnered with a Zarya to add as an off-tank. Zarya can shield her team and begin to snowball quickly with her weapon charge too. The likes of Genji, Reaper and Tracer can be mixed to quickly scout out the support heroes and take them out instantly, as well as give the tank some kidney shots. Finally, you will have a Lucio, of course for the ability to engage aggressively, and also an Ana or Zenyatta. Zen for the pressure Discord will put on healers or tanks, and an Ana for that ultimate, if you can charge it up quick enough, that is. It's quick, it's sharp, but also a full pedigree. This isn't something that is structurally weak because it's more mobile than tanky. It's a lineup that can really take the fight to the enemy and wears them out incredibly quickly if you can catch them out. Essentially, you leave them with very little time to react, and since you know what is about to happen and they don't, you have an advantage straight off the bat.
Now we're going to go over what a dive comp actually looks like. This footage we took from Quick Play last night, but it's a good sort of example of how a dive comp works. Now the speed of how we went in took me by surprise, hence why I wasn't with the initial push. We still went with a Reinhardt instead of a Zarya for King's Row, as that choke can throw a lot of damage at you, so it's nice to have that shield and just being able to push in really quickly. But we rushed in, beelined for the supports, and I did my best to catch that Mercy but couldn't kill her, but she eventually went down anyway. We pushed the enemy team back and got a couple of kills and took the point. It's fairly straightforward when it's done properly. The run back for the enemy team is quite fast, so having those heroes with high kill confirmation aiming for those high priority targets, there really isn't much for the attacking team to do. Now of course if they can get a kill to make it 5 versus 6 against you, then you might start to run into problems. But it's all about taking the enemy by surprise and pushing in. But now we're going to go over examples of when you should be using this.
So when should you be using it then? Well, it works wonders on those hybrid escort maps, and we'll go over why exactly you should gamble with a dive comp later on, because it's exactly that, a gamble. The composition can stand on its own 2 feet, but without a Reinhardt a lot of damage can be thrown onto your team pretty easily, and directly as well. Tanky, high sustain heroes can also cause problems by simply just refusing to die on the point. It's great for trying to take the point quickly and to rush before the ultimates are ready, but if you keep getting suppressed back, then you're on the back foot and you don't have that same advantage that you want. Not only will ultimates be ready for the defending team, but your team may start to worry, get anxious at each other and make mistakes due to panicking. It can be quite common to not even be able to take the first point on the likes of Hollywood, King's Row, Bonnie and Eichenwald, so attacking first, failing to capture the point and then trying to defend can feel like a real mountain to climb, and most of us know that it will end in a loss.
So can you use the dive comp for pure payload or assault maps? We tried the composition on Route 66, but it felt really clumsy and unorganised. The composition is more about taking the first point quickly as opposed to getting the payload to move along constantly. On hybrid maps where we see the first point taken, we see a lot of people switch out from Winston to a Reinhardt once it's gone, and then they go back to a more traditional lineup. For pure payload maps, we would say to just go for more tough, hard to move characters over the high mobility ones. As far as assault maps, well, it's interesting. You would assume that playing a dive comp would be perfect for these kind of maps. We've also seen an increase of the use of Mage, Junkrat and Symmetra on these maps, and it can be really easy to fall into these traps. Literally. But there is a reason why we brought this up. A reason where dive compositions might just be your saving grace, and it has to do with the time bank system.
So why should you use the dive composition then? Well, time bank system in itself adds a lot of interesting situations. For those that haven't experienced it, if you reach the end of a map in overtime, basically when your allotted time is used up, you're given 1 minute to capture the first objective on these maps. Now to a lot of you that might not sound like a lot of time and it might sound impossible to do. It took us 3 to 4 minutes to capture the first points in this first round. How can we do it in 1? Well, the dive composition may be your answer. And the pressure is well and truly on as the game goes on and you invest more time, and those rank points start to matter more and more to you, especially when the game is close. That psychology starts to make people anxious, and that is when people make mistakes. So imagine how overrun they must feel when a Winston, Genji, Tracer and co are straight in there up in their face as they are just setting up. We're not saying it's a surefire way of winning the game in a stalemate, but if done correctly, you'll be surprised how often you can capture a tough objective in a short amount of time. On top of this composition works so well because how uncoordinated public matches normally are, at least if you're not up against a 5 or 6 stack. So maybe queue with one 1 or 2 other friends, pick a couple of heroes that are good in a dive comp, and then try to explain the strategy to the rest of your team. A lot of the time they will be up for trying this out, and a lot of the time it works, because the other team have not talked the strategy through, and they're certainly not expecting the enemy to have a strategy, as that normally requires a lot of coordination, but dive comps are just kind of like, get in there and do your thing.
And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Do let us know if you've used a dive comp and whether you think it's pretty good in your ranked games. Thanks again for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Nice one, guys.